Today, I'm going to share with you 5 steps to raise your LSAT score from the 160s to the 170s. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Over the years, I've noticed that one of the biggest mistakes students make is they take test after test, they measure their results, they're happy or sad about those results, and then they move on to the next. Instead, what you've got to do is you got to slow down, learn from your mistakes, review in depth, and extract the key insights from that practice test that you took to help you study that much more effectively going forward. And so to that point, the first step I'm going to recommend for you if you're stuck in the 160s, if you're plateauing, is perform a deep error analysis. Use a technique like the Socratic review method for every question you get wrong, for every question you have difficulty with, to figure out exactly what went wrong and why, so that you can avoid making the same mistake going forward. And for every question you get wrong, there is likely also a question you got right, but guessed on and got lucky, and it just as easily could have gone the other way. And so we got to look at all of those questions to see, are there patterns in your mistakes? Are there commonalities between the questions that you're having difficulty with? You've got to understand not only why the right answer choice is right, but what was unappealing about it that discouraged you from choosing it. And you've got to look at not just why the wrong answer choice was wrong, but what was tempting about it that made you pick it. You want to keep an in-depth mistake log or wrong answer journal documenting your mistakes and the lessons learned, looking for any patterns in not just the question stem types that you're having difficulty with, but also particular methods of reasoning in the stimulus or in the reading count passage text, for example, or patterns in tempting wrong answers and unappealing right answers. At LSAT Unplugged, we use the Socratic review method in our LSAT prep courses, in our one-on-one LSAT prep coaching. And if you're interested in finding out more about joining our programs, you can check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. You also want to look at not just the fundamentals, but also master the advanced LSAT strategies, bringing me to my second step here for you, which is master all of the question types, not just the easier types, not just the most common types. If you hate parallel reasoning questions, you've been avoiding them forever, now's the time to dig into those. When you're scoring in the 170s, it's because you're not having particular issues with certain question types any longer in the vast majority of cases. So you want to look at the less common types. Parallel reasoning, evaluate the argument, cannot be true, least strongly supported, and yes, even those hated formal logic questions that appear later in the section, the ones that are a bit weird, kind of like what logic games used to look like. You want to take a deep dive into those more complex question types and strengthen your skills in those areas. Now, step number 3 here is improve your time management skills, because it's not just about getting the questions right, it's about getting them right under test day conditions. So it's time to move on from drilling questions by type. It's time to move on from a focus solely on accuracy to also working on pacing, how you allocate your time over the course of the section. In logical reasoning, for example, there is a general order of difficulty, meaning that the first 10 questions are going to be a lot easier than questions 11 through 25 or 26. So you go faster on the easier questions, build up a time bank that you can then apply to the tougher questions later in the section. Out of those tougher questions, maybe you flag or skip 3 or 4 of them, come back to them later, when with a second perspective, you can break out of any previous tunnel vision, and with a second look, a fresh perspective, you can turn that question from a guess into confidently choosing the right answer. You also want to work on your endurance, which brings me to step number 4 here, simulating real test day conditions. Again, we are no longer drilling questions by type, and we're no longer doing individual timed sections. We are now pulling it all together, doing full-length timed practice tests with standard timing, a standard sitting. It's 2 sections back to back, then a 10-minute break, then 2 more sections back to back, and that's the exam. Ideally, you want to get at least 10 of these practice tests under your belt before test day, so that test day itself will feel like just another run through, and you want to analyze any errors or issues you're having with pacing or endurance at this late stage. And finally, step number 5, you want to focus on your weak areas, maybe drill those on the side, while at the same time reinforcing your strong areas, reinforcing your strengths by building on them, deepening your understanding of the question types that you're good at so that you're having no issues in those areas and you're building your confidence. Again, if you'd like my help with any stage in the process, you can check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.